Hello and welcome to another Lenten reflection video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded my last video. I wanted to do one for each reading, but got a bit busy and had some technical difficulties. So I'm going to post a video for today, or a little short reflection, and fill in the gaps tomorrow and this weekend. I consulted a few friends about what they thought about having longer, shorter videos, and it seemed like shorter reflections, shorter videos would be preferred. So if you want to get the maximum experience out of this, I'd recommend having the daily reading open, or at least having read it ahead of time or something like that. But in today's first reading, we see God is telling Jonah that Nineveh will be destroyed by the wrath of God because God is angry with the people there for all of the sins they've been committing. And what do we see here? So we see the people of Nineveh, they believe in God, verse 5, and then they immediately practice mortification. They fast, and they do everything they can to try to reconcile themselves to God. And then we see God actually pardons them, and Nineveh is no longer going to be overthrown. Now, why is this the case? It's by the power of prayer that God is not convinced or persuaded to not destroy Nineveh, but rather it's God says he will destroy Nineveh and gives the people of Nineveh a choice that they can either just surrender and completely be destroyed, or they can try to reconcile themselves to God. And what Nineveh does, the people of Nineveh do, are their focus is so much on trying to make up for their shortcomings that God sees that and is able to take their desire to serve him and use it as a means to spare them. And it's not so much, as verse 9 says, like, people take this the wrong way, that God changes his mind, that our prayers change God's mind. But it's not so much about God, our will being imposed on God's will, but it's more of us praying for God's will, and then that will being done, that our will is supposed to conform to God's will. And just to look at the gospel real quick, Jesus calls the generation he's ministering to an evil generation because they ask for a sign. And the point Jesus is driving here is Jesus has demonstrated on various occasions that he is the Son of God. He's done miracles, he's preached things, he's fulfilled prophecies, yet still the people are unable to believe, and they still sin, and they don't accept him as their Savior, and they just don't believe. They want more proof. But for Nineveh, the people of Nineveh, they're willing to trust the prophet, the mediator that God gave to them, who was Jonah. And Jesus, the new Jonah, and as St. Paul says, it's the sole mediator between God and man. And they can't even buy into that. The people, the Jews, the crowds, they can't buy into that. But they desire to see more than what is necessary to believe. That's the key here. That to look into something, to explore it more deeply, does not necessarily mean that there needs to be more evidence for it. Just there needs to be a sort of introspection and taking on a new perspective. And I think that's the way that we can all grow in faith. And to wrap this reflection up, I think it's worth thinking about that this is all can apply to the situation in Ukraine, where there have been various prophecies about this great war in Europe and America, and they should be taken seriously because they're from victim souls and saints. That's what the church recommends. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll come to pass, though, because by the power of prayer and a true and genuine conversion of people, there can be this growth in a community that prevents the growth of vice, the growth of sin, and the consequences of that vice and sin. So I think it's always important to just look for the good in all things and strive to do the good in all things. And I don't want to make this video too much longer because I think it'll appeal to more people, just a short reflection. So thank you for watching. More videos to come soon. God bless.